Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
Adam, let's start with this. This whole argument over the pound for pound best at the moment. I don't know if people are tripping, but at the moment, the pound for pound best argument, right? Is it Islam
Right.
or John Jones in your eyes?
I mean, it's John Jones. You know, yeah, it's John Jones, and Islam's a great fighter, man. But John Jones has been around forever. Technically, he's still got that zero. At least his one loss was a DQ. He's champ. Like, yeah, he's the GOAT. People can hate on him. They cannot like his personality. They cannot like what he's done in his past. But he has been, I think, I think he's been kind of the example of what you want to be as a mixed martial artist as far as style goes. Again, not what you want to do outside of the cage, but
Yeah, it seems like people are, or fighters that actually, because you guys understand best. I mean, you're a fighter, he's a fighter, that they're able to like put that aside, like push that aside. Fans, not so much, right? Fans are like,
right.
he's not, he hit a pregnant woman with a car. You know what I mean? All these things that they'll list the things that he's done outside the cage. But if you look inside the cage, the dude is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's all I'm looking at. Because again, I don't. I don't respect anything he's done outside. He hasn't of the cage. He hasn't been a good role model for up and coming fighters. He hasn't been a good role model for fans outside of the sport. You know, but if you're just looking inside the cage, of what his accomplishments, there's nobody's there yet. Khabib could have been there, but he retired early. Not saying Islam can't be there. But also, if Johns don't lose that legitimate zero, then I don't think he gets past him. And then you can go off on a tangent about as a fighter who you like, and yeah, losses. Okay, if you want to look in the L column for sure, but as a fighter and knowing that losses come with fighting and they make you stronger, I look at a guy like Max Holloway who seems to do everything right outside of the cage as well, and that would be one of my goats that I put up there. I don't care how many losses he has, or I always constantly say us fighters aren't defined by the L column. It's how do we come back from a loss, and if a fighter doesn't have a true a true loss, or if they haven't experienced defeat, do you really know all that there is about them?
Yeah, you make a great point. You made a few great points, and yeah, I think you're just a hater if you just point to the loss column, right? You just want to
Right.
find something to just hate on somebody about.
100%, man. That's the low hanging fruit. That's what we call that.
Exactly. All right, man. You returning back to action June 15th in Las Vegas. Josh Quinlan, man. He's a striker. I spoke with him a couple of days ago, and he described you as a grappler. Do you consider yourself like a grappler?
I consider myself an MMA fighter, man. I've been doing this a long time, and I've dedicated certain time in my life and my career to each one of the aspects. So I'm just a melting pot, and I try to go where the fight is needed to go to get the W. So
All right, and what do you think of Quinlan and his skill set?
he's a gamer. He's very durable. He's obviously heavy handed. Dangerous for sure. So all respect to him. But that's kind of what I see. I hear there's a BJJ black belt in there or something like that, but we haven't really seen his ground game that much. What we do see is him putting people out with his hands and getting to his big power shots, or in his losses, we've seen him having a hard time, getting inside and cutting that distance on people. So
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, he's a devastating striker, but you've also had your knockouts. What I mean, with the hands
right.
and stuff like that. So it's not like it's something foreign to you to go in there and bang it out with somebody. For Quinlan, he was undefeated, for a long time. and then
Yeah.
he suffered his last two losses, which is his only losses. You know, I mean, you've
Right.
suffered losses in the past. How devastating
Yep.
can that be for somebody to have back-to-back losses?
Uh, it can be real. It can be real devastating, and if that's another thing that we go back to what I just said about, do you really know about yourself until you face defeat? Those are things you have to get over when they happen, and you got to keep moving forward, and each of us goes through our own process. Sometimes some of us succumb to those losses, and then we let our fears creep in, because the sport is very much it's a runs kind of game, right? The more wins you can get, the more confidence you build. That confidence is going to lead you to the next version of yourself, the next level per se. We always see these guys that make these runs to get the belt, and then they win, and a lot of them, they take this next leap, and then and they're even more of a fighter, a better fighter than what they were before they made the run. So losses can definitely, they can make or break you for sure. I don't think I'm telling anything they don't know there, but um, I think just once you get past that initial defeat and you figure out how to overcome it, and you figure out how to assess, where you could have been better, I think it could also lead to you being a better fighter.
For sure, man. And let's go back to the last fight. I was watching something, and you were talking about how the last fight week there were some mistakes made with
Yeah.
preparations. Could you delve into that a little bit? Give us some insight into that.
I was just kind of thinking about this today too. Like, it's a life thing in general. Like every time you think you got something figured out, in whatever aspect of your life, the reality has a kind of a cruel way of kicking you in the teeth a little bit. So we had great, weight cuts. We had great. Experiences basically leading up to the last two fights, even though losing to Michael Morales wasn't the way I wanted to do that. But the build up, everything was good, and the weight came off easy, and we kind of just we got a little too comfortable, and we started playing around with too many things. You don't go on there and fix what's not broken. So I definitely kind of I don't know. I experienced the downfall of being a little too confident in my preparation leading into fight week, and was just a little too confident, and ended up backfiring in the weight cut. It took a little longer to get that weight off than necessary. It was much more intense than I needed it to be, probably. So yeah, there was that mistake, and then for everything to go right in the Kinoshita fight, game plan wise, strategy wise, all through the camp preparation, you get, that happens to you, and you kind of get clouded, your mind gets clouded, and you think, oh, I'm just going to go do this thing again, and each camp brings new challenges, and definitely that camp did not go as clean and as neat as the Kinoshita camp, and I definitely allowed that to mess with my mental a little bit.
Yeah, it's you talked about earlier about the mental side of losses and preparations. You know what I mean? Like I was talking to another fighter about this. MMA is everybody's a perfectionist, but it's the hardest thing to be perfect at because there's so many variables going on.
It's not attainable, man, and perfection is not attainable. And I want to shout out Chase Hooper for basically saying in one of his last posts is like, perfection is not attainable, basically. And if I allowed how I felt, and I made this mistake last one. If I allow how I feel in fight week to dictate how my fight's gonna go, like the Kinoshita fight camp, I felt amazing. I felt untouchable. I felt like I had everything, going right for me. And then in the Malat one, I was, I didn't see it as clearly. The vision wasn't as clear, and I let that kind of mess with me a little bit. I went in there with this clouded judgment of kind of who I am, versus understanding that okay, the vision may not be clear, and this might just be a war. We might just have to go to war for 15 minutes. There's not a clear cut way of getting that W. I'm gonna have to really will myself to this one, and knowing that I have that dog in me to do that.
So after that fight, I mean, why did you have such a long extended, away from
Uh,
competition?
they asked me to take a fight in August, and I had a little bit of an injury that I was trying to let heal up, and I just felt like that was too quick for that injury to actually be fully back to normal, and so I feel like I just kind of missed out on my next fight there. There's so many guys on the roster, there's so many names, you're not able to step up and take your shot when it's given to you. You can kind of go to the back of the line. So at least that's how I kind of felt. How I feel kind of about it. And it sucks. I definitely wanted to get back in there. It just didn't seem like there was an opportunity right away. And maybe it all happened for the right reason because I don't know if you know this, but I moved my camp down here to Fight Ready, in Arizona. So. Um, I hadn't actually like committed to doing that at that moment, and so I was trying to figure out: do I want to do that, or do I want to run it back again? And finally, just basically, I decided on my direction, and I took that turn, and I made myself my way down here to Arizona, and I think it all worked out for the right reason.
Yeah, you've done your whole camp in at Fight Ready. Am I right?
Yeah, basically, I got down here. I didn't have a fight scheduled. I was kind of told like, "Hey, get ready, man, because you're gonna get a call, and we can't, no, no guarantees. It can be short notice, and or it can be a full fight camp, but just get ready and be ready." And which I'm used to. This is the UFC for that's kind of how things go. And so I got down here, and surprise, surprise, they go here's basically 12 weeks to prepare and get ready. So gifted a good camp, and I took full advantage of it.
Yeah, 12 weeks is like almost like the perfect amount of time to be in a new camp and to kind of get
Right.
used to them and then kick it in and mesh with all the coaches and the training partners. I seen that you were working with a few high level guys there. How has it been implementing some of the tricks that you've kind of formulated with your team back at home into
Right.
sparring at Fight Ready?
It's been eye opening for sure. I trained back at home with a lot of the amateur fighters that I was coaching. So coming out here and having some vets in the room and really high level guys like, you know, um, they hold you accountable. They hold you to this whole different standard. I can't get away with some of those tricks that I had. So it's like, oh, okay, we're just gonna shelf this topic. We don't mess with this. And so I just being down here, I just really like delve deep into, trying to do my absolute best at taking the parts of the system that they have down here that I like and implementing it, and then trying to get rid of the bad habits that I have from basically just years of not being checked.
Yeah, and one of the big names is Kelvin Gastelum, right? A guy that
Yeah,
fought for the title. He's at 170 alongside you. He's in camp, I believe, as well, right?
yep.
Alongside
He
you,
he
and
fights the week after me.
yeah. So it must be cool to just like walk into the gym every day to have someone like that with you, and then just training with them and just seeing the process that they take and kind of comparing to yourself, right?
Oh, 100%, man. I made a post about it yesterday. The gratitude I have for Kelvin and for the guys in my camp, Ray Waters, who he's not in the UFC yet, but watch out for that name. A veteran like Dan the Hitman Moret, who's been in the UFC Bellator. Just the gratitude for those guys is I have so much of it. And then Kelvin and I are just kind of, we're a perfect storm, basically. He's his competitiveness, my competitiveness, um, we neither one of us want to let the other one score. And so we just constantly, we're in there battling it out, keeping it controlled because, again, he's got to fight, I got to fight. But it's just, it's awesome. It's definitely what I call kind of that ladder effect where, um, we're both on the ladder and one guy's stepping over, jumping to that next level, and then the other guys down below, like, heck no, man, and they're jumping over that guy. So it's been a great camp, a great experience with him, and definitely found some some fight camp brothers is what I found. Some MMA brothers. That's what I got.
Yeah, man, it's great to hear, man. It almost seems like you've unlocked a new version of yourself. Just like you said, it was kind of eye opening and everything. And I'm actually, whenever I hear fighters talk about that, it's like they kind of saw something that in themselves that maybe we didn't see, and you get to show it on June 15th. How do you expect to perform in that fight?
Honestly, yeah, kind of. I feel like I've unlocked this new level in myself. Easy to say now, this the fight happens. I got all the confidence in the world going in there, So I expect I expect to go in there and show the world what I've been working on and show them this new level. And you know, honestly, like I don't know how the fight's going to end, but I'm literally looking to try to go in there and control and dominate. The entire fight from start to finish. Like I said, I'm a melting pot. So like as far as techniques goes, I feel very comfortable and confident wherever the fight will take it. So or wherever we take the fight. So just wherever we're at, I just know I have the capabilities of kind of controlling and dominating that version of the fight. I
Yeah,
know
I
that's open
remember.
ended, but
Yeah, your thoughts are your thoughts. What I mean, like we gotta
yeah,
listen to them and like kind of dissect what you say. A lot of people that's what they're gonna do. Um,
right.
you know, when you made your debut, I remember you told me that that was like a one fight contract. So you're basically like auditioning for the UFC. Do you feel like you're in the same position with this fight?
The storyline on this one, right? Let's every great fight has a story, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
that's what something Chael Sonnen said. The story on this one is I feel like both me and Josh are in the same boat here. We're 1-2. It don't look good to the matchmakers in the UFC, and 1-2, and I think winner stays and the loser goes home. Meaning that basically one of us. I feel like we're both kind of on that verge of getting cut. That's the uncomfortable truth that both of us have to face. As UFC matchmakers, they want high level talent. They want the next big star. They want um, they want zeros basically behind that win column. So that's kind of the story I'm looking at right here. Is winner stays and loser goes home. So, and I don't want to
Yes,
be that guy.
exactly. Sink or swim. That's what they say, right? Sink or swim.
That's
June
right.
15th, UFC Fight Night, Las Vegas. Adam, thank you, man, so much
Yeah,
for the time, and it's great to see that you've made some adjustments, and we get to see what you can do with these adjustments, man. It's gonna be exciting. Thank you
for
so much.
sure. Thanks for having me on again, man. I appreciate it.